So you can understand the importance of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga was the foundation of Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, or Upasana Yoga. And in traditional Gurukulams, some Jnana Yoga is taught, some Karma Yoga is taught, and then Bhakti Yoga is brought in to say, look, without this, you're heading nowhere. And the students are full of all kinds of ideas, Atma, Paramatma, self, this, that, and then, oh, there is a power higher than me. In fact, there is no me, but this power working through me. And this power has chosen this whole life with its mix of good and bad, ugly and lovely. If you become my Sadasya, a member of my community, my student, you will realize that I love saying good, bad, ugly, lovely. But you understand what I mean. The complete mixed bag of experiences. But so is the case. That Ishvara is so close to you. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara has been described as the indweller of this living, moving body. This body is a temple of Ishvara. And it's such a privilege that our regular self is dwelling alongside that great self, Ishvara. And hence there is a very clear reassurance that no matter how stupid you've been and how wrong you've been, and you may be the deepest, darkest criminal, and this is a reassurance we get in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the voice of Ishvara, that when you start remembering Ishvara, you become new again. And Ishvara becomes the boat in which you cross the ocean of samsara. So we are told that we cannot be permanent sinners or permanently fallen people, or we are lost souls, or any of these dark scenarios. Instead, yes, it's terrible. We've fallen in the well of samsara, and what it just simply means is being born and again and leading this mechanical life, always feeling unfulfilled, always striving, always never having enough. But then in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, which is the voice of Ishvara, says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hiddeshorjuna tishtati, which means Ishvara dwells in the hearts of all living beings. Hid is from Hidayam, Hiddesha. And then it says, the next line says, Brahman sarva bhutani yantra rudani mayaya. That, O Arjuna, it is Ishvara dwelling within us who unfolds our karmas and directs the wanderings of the embodied souls from this life to this story, to this partner, to this divorce, to this marriage, to this. We who are seated in a machine, so the body has been compared to a machine made up of material energy. So it is Ishvara directing an aspect of its own self, which is the soul and the mind, and we are going through our experiences. So then who is experiencing the sorrows through you? Ishvara. Who is experiencing the joys? Ishvara. Who is there but Ishvara? There is none other but Ishvara. So this is the beauty of this chapter 10, verse 20, where it says that the Ishvara, the great omniscient dimension, is seated in the hearts of all beings. And in Bhakti Yoga, these kind of satsangs, first of all, either establish newly, if you are new to these teachings, or strengthen them by rehearing these concepts, your familiarity with Ishvara, so that you don't fall into a spell and think that only this is Ishvara or that is Ishvara, but not that. And even if you have been born or raised in an atmosphere where you, for example, revere one Hindu deity over another, or one god of the Christians, or god of the Muslims, or god of the Jews, or the god of the Sikhs, you can you can be inclusive of all of that. You don't need to dismiss it because that is an Ishvara phenomena too. But then from that beautiful place, you can then expand your idea and gradually realize that how is it that when the Muslims remember their God, they get miracles? When the Sikhs remember their God, they get miracles. When the Jaina people remember their God, they get miracles. What's going on here? How come there are mystics and saints and some version of yogis in every religion? What's happening here? If I have the chosen religion, then only I should get it. Not true. Because not only are the humans who are reporting this special grace, but even tiny ants and mosquitoes and bugs and beetles and rivers and mountains protected in the Ishvara mantle. And therefore, floods and fires and tsunamis are also part of that cosmic intelligence to repair itself and heal itself. It may be inconvenient for the privileged human being, but it is still part of the cosmic soul and its intelligence. Indeed. The path of Bhakti Yoga is the path of falling in deep love. But then we fall in love, in human love. But then the words, so I chose the word falling carefully to juxtapose it with rising in love. So you have to say, I am rising in love through bhakti. And of course, from this satsang onwards, over several more satsangs, we will look at some of the key verses from the Bhagavad Gita on Bhakti Yoga, and also from another text, the Bhakti Sutras by Sage Narada. There is another Bhakti Sutras by another sage called Sage Sandilya, but I will probably not be referring from that text because I'm not that familiar with that text. It's also a less read text, but I just wanted you to be aware that it is available. And many, many chapters in Bhagavad Gita, they are imbued with bhakti throughout. I don't think there is any chapter without verses on Bhakti Yoga, but I would say that there are specific chapters which I will be referring to more than others, and I will keep pointing them out to you. The last piece that I want to share with you on Bhakti Yoga is don't worry. Ishvara is not some foreign god, some new concept that you have to learn about and engage with. Ishvara is that eternal light, that eternal formless, nameless consciousness. And it's formless, but it can take any form. Just like you are formless, your soul is formless, but you've taken this one form. So you too are part formless, part form, aren't you? In the same way, that great omniscient dimension, that great omniscient presence, consciousness, the supreme self is ultimately formless and boundless, but it can take any number of forms for us. So it has become every caterpillar, every shell, every mountain, every blade of grass, every human being, and every human heart. And the saga of human relationships is also nothing but Ishvara enacting out the good, bad, ugly, and lovely. We suffer till we don't know about Ishvara and that unifying concept, and we only see this as, oh my God, this is happening to me. How terrible. But if we just quieten and we step back a little and we start observing, we will realize that perhaps we are not seeing what we should be seeing. Your body is material and it dwells in the material world or the material plane of existence. It is attracted to other material bodies. It has a material identity and a material name and a material address. It is a very material existence. Your mind, it functions in the phenomenal universe. It's imagined universe, thought universe. And so it thinks through. It has thinking relationships. But I want to reassure you that you have a self within you, an Atma, a non-tangible reality within you that dwells in the absolute plane with Ishvara. So there is your true self is right there with that cosmic self. You are never separate at that level. At the core of your being, you are one with Ishvara, and that's where you exist. And Bhakti Yoga teaches us how to constantly be in that plane more and more. So for example, when we are meditating or chanting or remembering Ishvara, we stop being a body. It doesn't matter what we are wearing, how we're looking, what's the mole on our nose or cheek doing. It doesn't matter. And our mind starts quietening down. The phenomenal world starts quieting down. Who has things, who doesn't have, who got a promotion, who didn't. And we start getting into the soul where sweetness starts emerging. And at that level, there is some light that happens. And this is the Ishvara's presence. So just as butter is present in milk without announcing itself, fire is present in wood and you don't see it unless you rub them together. Oil is present inside a tiny sesame seed, but you can't see it. That Ishvara is present within each one of us, unseen, connected to our Atma, connected to the essence of our being. You are never far from that. So really, Bhakti Yoga in the nondual tradition is to fall in love with your own higher self. To really go from freedom from sorrow, dukkha nivritti, experience of joy, paramananda prapti, to that experience of connecting with your immortal self, which is the final third benefit of Bhakti Yoga, which is to achieve yogic mukti or moksha. This is the benefit. Then you feel blissful while alive and you feel blissful when facing death. Nothing shall alter that joy for you. Your joy is not dependent on outer objects. You become more and more inherently joyous. You become kind of full from within you. Creativity just drips off of your fingertips. And life is still coming at you because you're still a samsara citizen with all its pain and problems and dualities, but your joy is also standalone because you're not searching for it in samsara. The grandeur of your existence reveals itself from within you. And if you have been walking on this path with me for some time, or you are a practitioner of Bhakti Yoga through any other great teacher's directives, you've already begun to experience something indescribable that's growing within you and creating some well-being within you that was not there earlier. I would like us to clap again if you feel that. Let's do that. Yeah. Oh, wow. Look at that. Looking at a gallery of people clapping. That's beautiful. I love that. We're going to keep up with the clapping. And in fact, when you're falling in the well of the materialism of the body and the phenomenal craziness of the mind, go ahead and clap. Go ahead and clap and come back. That's what I would say to you. Let it be your reminder So ultimately, Bhakti Yoga helps us not look at life merely through our body or through your mind, or see your life as a playing out for your psychological self, constantly needing support. Don't look at your life through the eyes of other people, but look at it with the spiritual vision that I was talking about, how my guru gave me a spiritual vision. Look at it like you're a wanderer, a soul wanderer coming away far from your home, and now you're on the way back home. And that's why it is said that you may find many teachers, but you find that one teacher of Advaita Vedanta, you feel like sitting down with them, and that's the beginning of the end of your wandering and your lostness in samsara. You're getting ready to go back home, your soul home. I don't know what that looks like, and I'm not going to make any fantastical promises, but it is not full of so much delusions and illusions and suffering. So when you start experiencing bhakti for Ishvara, when you start opening up to the presence of Ishvara, which is step number 1 in Bhakti Yoga, you start leading your life from your inner center, this authentic place, this place, not from your body, not from your mind, and not just even from your intellect. You use your intellect, which is learning about the Vedas, but you're not just your intellectual label. You live from your center, where you know Ishvara is with you all the time, all the time. And as you understand this and you start living from here, spiritual grace, divine grace, support, intelligence starts working for you. So with this, I will conclude my satsang on Bhakti Yoga. In our next session, we will talk about, if Ishvara is so close to me, why can't I see Ishvara? I know the answer can be, well, because Ishvara is formless, etc. But I want to give you more classic ideas and understandings of how to see Ishvara and from your inner understanding. So we'll talk about this. We close the session with deep reverence for the Vedic tradition, for the Guru Parampara, for something that remains unchanged, not for 100 years, not for thousands of years, but for hundreds and thousands of years. Something that some humans felt it's necessary to not dilute the conversation, not quicken the conversation, not necessarily package the conversation, just have the conversation. Let humans tell humans that you're okay here, deep inside. And let's develop a divine vision in our ordinary, difficult life and start seeing what happens. I will chant this mantra from the Upanishads, which leads us to our journey of from asat, that which is an illusion, the samsaric illusion, to truth, sat, of the self, which is one with the Supreme Self. From darkness of probing, grabbing, grasping, greed, resentment, complaint, sorrow, victimhood, to the light of okayness with what is showing up. First, be okay with it genuinely, and then it's going to change as it needs to. And so we go from clutching on to this physical body as our only existence to welcoming our eternal life of the Spirit. Many of you know this mantra and you can chant with me. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, peace, peace. The path of bhakti, the goal of bhakti, Bhakti Yoga, the satsang continues. Jai Ma, everyone. Many, many blessings and many, many clappings. Take care.